is a story written in passion. The pioneering spirit for adventure, economic, social, and political necessities. It is a story that spans 134 years, from the time of British Malaya to the Japanese occupation, the emergence of independence, Malaysia, and today a nation at par to any developed country in the world. After a somber opening of the Port Weld, 8 miles of line, a distance covered in about 40 minutes in a steam launch named Kinta, several other independent and unjoined lines began to etch their presence in pockets of feverishly growing economic activity, adding to both goods and passenger traffic. States were now busy constructing their own railways. Klang to Kuala Lumpur in 1886. Seremban to Sungai Ujung, Port Dickson in 1891. Telok Anson to Tapa Road in 1893. And Prai to Bukit Mertajam in 1899. "1901 saw state railways merge to form the Federated Malay State Railway that would now be the engine powering railway growth in the west and east coasts of Malaya for the next 41 years. The year 1903 witnessed the completion of important sections of the main line. Within the year, lines were opened between Kuala Lumpur and Seremban, Ipoh and Prai, and Ipoh and Kuala Lumpur, offering a continuous connection between Prai and Seremban. In January of the same year, the first section of the Singapore-Kranji Railway between Tank Road and Bukit Timah was put to use. By the end of 1904, it was possible for passengers to leave Malacca at 1 p.m. and arrive in Penang at 6:21 a.m. on the following day, instead of the 2 to 3 day journey on a steamer. Extensions continued to the main line. The network was now seeing a southern push to link Singapore into its operational prowess. The Tampin to Segamat line was annexed by 1908. And by the 1st of July 1909, the section between Segamat and Johor Bahru, running some 105 miles, was open to traffic. Connection to the Singapore Railway, then, was by way of ferry steamer, until the first passenger train passed across the causeway in October 1923. The focus now turned to the construction of a line up from central Malaya to terminate Kota Bharu at the end of the east coast. This east coast line, from Gemas to Tumpak, covering a distance of 328 miles, was officially opened by Sir Cecil Clementi and the Sultan of Kelantan in 1931. Boasting some of the most interesting wild and rugged scenery, this branch pride in having the longest, 780 yards tunnel in the entire railway network. The longest bridge, an impressive engineering feat consisting of 5,150 feet spans that cover half a mile over the Kelantan River. Indeed, this was no small achievement. By far, it was the only means of communication between Kuala Lipis and Kuala Karai, with no roads in these parts at that time. The advent of the Second World War left a permanent scar, snuffing out the forward momentum gained so far. Maintenance was unheard of, but everything else was thrown on to the tracks to feed the war effort. The Japanese gave priority only to strategic lines, organized through ports back to Japan. What was of more use elsewhere was dismantled. A total of 276 miles of running line and 57 miles of second line were stripped and shipped to be used in the construction of the death railways in Thailand and Burma. A tragic, often forgotten piece of history bears testimony to the plight of the thousands, mostly Malayan, forced to labor, and with every track lay the lives of their comrades. Of 80,000, only 1/3 returned. The Japanese also appropriated 1/3 of the pre-war stock of locomotives, half of the 5,800 wagons, including a large number of passenger coaches, to Thailand and Indochina. The war also took toll on the Central Railway's workshops at Sentul and sheds at brickfields from the bombs of Allied planes. With the Japanese surrender in 1945, the railways were in poor condition, with only the main line operational. The major transformation was, however, in the pipeline. In line with post-war political developments, that is, the formation of the Malayan Union, the FMS Railways was renamed the Malayan Railway, incorporated as a statutory body and run by a railway board. On August 31st, 1957, the Federal of Malaya became an independent nation, and the railways came under the control of the Minister of Transport in the new government. The Malayan Railway continued to play a dominant role in national transport. Its contributions lay in the carriage of bulk export products such as rubber, tin, and iron ore. 50% of total exports shipped via ports were handled by the railway. Long-distance travel became popular too among passengers, as sleeping accommodation and sanitary facilities were only available on the train. But all was not a bed of roses. The railways were plagued by yet another menace: the communists and terrorists, who continuously mounted attacks to undermine and sabotage the railway's efficiency. This long and financially taxing battle was to run for 12 years after the declaration of national emergency on the 12th of July 1948. Just as there is so much color in the development of the Malayan Railway, the locomotive that ran on these tracks was no less interesting. More than 25 different classes of steam locomotives and 6 classes of diesel engines have performed their tour of duty. All Malayan Railways steam locomotives were oil-fired after being converted at the Sentul workshop. The dieselization program only began in 1945 with the ordering of 20 engines from England. The year 1957 saw the introduction of the most powerful locomotive, the 20 class, capable of service speeds of 16 miles per hour. The 26 delivered were named after Malayan flowers. The first, Bunga Raya. The 20 class were followed by Bobo locomotives, 27 class, 28 class, and others. Similarly, from the first railway bridge over the Klang River, bridges are monuments to the zeal and expedition of the engineers, making the impasse passable. Part and parcel of taking the railway to an intended destination are bridges that share this history. The Bido Bridge, Gulimat Bridge, and Peel Bridge. With railways, stations were as natural as the flip side of the coin. Some elaborate, some ambitious, some practical, and most today reflecting the legacy of a romantic railway era. The Malayan Railway has gone through 1,339 track miles. Seen speeds go from 6 to 60 miles per hour. Witnessed a colonial land of submission turn into an independent nation, respected by the world. It is history written by economic necessity, daring, and quite simply the challenge many Malaysians will call Malaysia Boleh. The Malayan Railways, tracking the historical trains.